Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Today I'm checking out a 2022 Ford F-150 Lightning full electric truck, four-wheel drive, Super Crew, in the Pro Series trim level. This truck is sitting on 275/65 Michelin tires wrapped around 18-inch alloy wheels with a gloss black finish. It also has four-wheel disc brakes with ventilated rotors on all four wheels and regenerative braking, which I'll show you that when we get inside the vehicle. The name of this color is Atlas Blue Metallic. It's a really nice looking Ford blue, and in this particular truck it looks really nice. Very impressed with the color. So you can see in the front, the grille is mostly blocked off. So typically on an F-150, all this will be open for the radiator and airflow and stuff, for cooling the engine and AC components and all that stuff. It does have cooling down here though. There's a little tiny grill right here with active grill shutters and allows air to flow through. This is mostly for the air conditioning system, but it also has cooling for the battery and other components as well. So there's parking sensors across the front, so you can see them integrated here in the black portion. Also, you have recovery hooks here and here. And it's mostly a flat black, but there's also kind of like a, it's a little bit different black here. So, slightly different. This is like a plasticky material, and that's like a metal material here. So, it looks a little bit different. And then this is kind of like a rough plastic here in the front. There's also a camera in the very center. You can see right there, integrated with the badge. And there's one on each side mirror as well as one in the back, and that's for the 360 camera system. I'll show you that when we get inside. It's really good, very handy. So it has these white plastic pieces here on the corners, the front corners. And when I first saw it, it looks a little bit cheap. Just the initial impression. But when I saw it at night, it's basically intended to diffuse an LED light. And it looks pretty good at nighttime, so it does the job, and it's kind of growing on me. But at first glance, it just kind of looked like a lamp at your house or something, has like a plastic cover on it. So that's what it kind of reminded me of, just a light diffusing material. But the headlights and that light right there, it looks fantastic at night. I have a night video showing what it looks like going down the road and what the vehicle looks like and how to use everything. And it's great headlights, excellent headlights. And you know, there's different lighting around the vehicle, just fantastic. You can check out that video regarding the lights. It's really good. So the headlights are a projector. So there's two projectors, low and high beams, and then very in the center is a high intensity LED, like daytime running light type light. It's also the turn signal as well. It's all LEDs. Looking at the profile, there's no wheel well protection or anything like that, or even down here. But the handles are made out of that material, that black plastic material. They're not body colored. Same thing with the side mirrors. And the pillars are a matte black, and it kind of solidifies the privacy glass there on the back. Now you notice that this is a little bit different. You see this frame down here, and some components that kind of stick below the truck, a little bit lower than say a regular F-150. And that's because of the battery and electrical components has to be down here. And so that's kind of the dead giveaway that it's not a regular F-150. On the driver's side, there's this cover here. The passenger looks the same way, but on this side, it's actually the charge port. And it gives you a status while it's charging, little status indicators there. It has the regular 220, 110, or the fast DC charging capabilities as well. So I might as well show you the front trunk. It has a little button under the front. So right under here, right in there, you can push that button when the vehicle's unlocked. And this goes for raising it and lowering it. The vehicle has to be unlocked to use that button. You can also, the easiest way to do it really is the key. So we have a regular Ford truck key, kind of regular looking. And it has the double tap that for opening up the front truck. It has a panic button and lock and unlock. And the Ford emblem on the other side. But basically it's a regular Ford key like you'd find in other vehicles. There's nothing like to indicate that this is a Lightning. So let's go ahead and double tap that. so we can raise the front trunk. It takes a second for it to come up, but it does beep. And this is super useful. It is a great design. The best front trunk, if I may say so myself. It does have 2 lights here, and you should see it at nighttime. It looks fantastic. Plenty of lights to illuminate this whole area. And you notice that it's kind of like waist high. So as you just walk up to it, and it's like you're getting stuff off of a bench or something. It's perfect height. And it has this rubber floor, and this is very good because even with some aggressive driving, I've put my camera equipment here, and I do all this driving and flooring it and braking hard and all that stuff, and then when I open this up, everything's kind of in the same spot. And, you know, small things that might roll around or something might move, but as far as the grippiness of this material, it's proven itself to me for sure. Now, of course, it does have tie downs as well, so if you need something to tie down, and that would be recommended for some stuff, especially if it's rounded or something, then there's some tie downs there. There's also bag holders, and this truck makes a great grocery getter, by the way. You can put tons of groceries in here, and it's easy to get in and out of, which is fantastic. So the bag holders are there. You see there's a net pocket here as well. There's a little escape hatch right here, button to release and open up. If you're a kid or somebody that gets trapped in here, you can go ahead and escape. There's also a button to turn off the lights or turn them on if they're off, right there. There's additional space under here, and this is a heavy duty cover. So you can see it has this little area here, and it has a drain as well right there. So if you want to fill this up with ice, you can use it like a makeshift temporary cooler or something like that. You can do that. Also, this heavy piece can be flipped around and put this way, and it kind of serves as a little bench. It has little places for parts and screws to be placed. Has these little compartments here, and you can work off of this and put up to 400 pounds on this surface, which is pretty cool. That's a lot of weight, and you can feel this is a heavy duty piece, so it's like really heavy. It feels like it's at least maybe 20 pounds. I don't know, it's pretty heavy, so it's able to handle the weight for sure. Also, there is a 12-volt battery on the other side of this cover here. You can see it in there, so that powers some of the components. Got this little guy on 1913. I guess that's like the first vehicle that Ford made. Also, there's this cover to the left, and it is a power inverter, and you'll notice it says 120 volts, 20 amps, so 2.4 kilowatts max. And check it out. So you have 4 outlets here. You have a reset, like a breaker, and then there's a USB and USB-C ports for charging only. So this is pretty substantial. Just by comparison, an outlet at your house, that like a double outlet, duplex outlet like this, is usually a 15 amp outlet. So this one is actually 20 amps, which you can go up to 2.4 kilowatts. So that's quite a bit of energy that you can use here in the front. Now, this is also shared with the outlets in the cabin as well, and I'll show you that you can monitor how much power you're actually using on the screen, and I'll plug in something in so you can see what I'm talking about, but it's really handy. So to lower this front trunk, you can of course use the key, or you can use that button I was talking about. So there's the button there, and like I said, you've got to make sure that the vehicle's unlocked. Because if the vehicle's locked right now, trying to push that button will not do anything. But since it's unlocked, we can go ahead and push it and it'll lower down. So locking the vehicle disables that button. So you can't even close this hood at all if the vehicle's locked. On this trim, it has a partial proximity key system. You do have to press unlock on the key fob to unlock the door. So it doesn't have any sensors here on the handles at all. But it does have a physical key location here. Now the doors go all the way down to the bottom to try to keep the threshold area as clean as possible. You can see a little bit of debris gets there in the front, but back here, since there's a seal, it keeps dirt and debris and everything from getting this area dirty and then dirty in your clothes. So that's the idea behind having the doors go all the way down. So here's the inside of the passenger side door, and it's all the surfaces here are hard touch. They're just different textures. So you have just kind of like a regular hard plastic texture down here. This one's kind of like a rubbery, intended to feel soft, but it's actually not. And then this is a different, more like a rough texture with a little pattern on it, which looks pretty neat. There's the door release. There's a little pocket right in here, and you can stand your phone up or whatever. Door lock control. There's a speaker. Nice handy pocket here, and you can put a small umbrella or whatever in there. It kind of goes in a little ways. Large pockets at the bottom, 2 bottle holders basically, and just wide open space. So really handy doors. Having it layered like that and also lots of space is nice, really nice. So this is a vinyl floor, vinyl seat. It's like a work truck for the most part. And you can see it's just a gray interior here. And the seats are nice and comfortable. They're a good height off the floor. You know, you're not skimping. You're not losing any floor space or room inside the vehicle because it's a electric vehicle. The actual battery is below, underneath. So all this, you have plenty of space in here. There's a storage pocket there on the right side of the center console. Has a locking glove compartment. Smooth plastic on the inside. You have a secondary compartment here. And then it has a rubber mat to keep things from sliding around. And this is some interesting material here. This is kind of like it looks and kind of feels like a cloth, but it's actually like an injection molded material, but it feels and looks nice, non-reflective. It has some, you know, simulated stitching there, but yeah, it's kind of neat. There's a handle on all 4 doors for entering the vehicle, because it is a pretty good ways off the ground. I think for most people, we would need a step. This one does not have the sunroof, but plenty of headroom. Has a cloth headliner. And you see the opening in the front is just massive. You can see plenty of headroom. Your body can just go right on in and out. Just nothing to impede your entrance whatsoever. Swing of the door is nice. And this is the Super Crew, and you can see there's plenty of room back here. Can't complain. The swing of the door is nice. The wide open space, you're not going to be bumping your head or anything like that unless you're like 7 feet tall. So as far as entering and exiting the vehicle, it's fantastic. And also this back door, the swing of it is out quite a bit. That's going to help out with cargo space. We'll get to that in just a minute. Okay, so here's the inside of the back door. We have basically the same materials. Nothing is soft touch. It's all hard touch, hard plastic, but it does have a little pocket here. Back here has the like a bottle holder, which is nice. And then there's a large compartment at the bottom with the bottle holder as well. Door also goes down to the bottom of the vehicle. Little tiny threshold there. Now you notice that there's a little bit of a little difference between the threshold and the floor, a little bit of a height there. The front doesn't have that, so you can see this just like you don't have to lift your legs up. You just kind of can slide them right in. But back here you do have this little bit of a separation between the threshold and the floor. Not a big deal, but I just want to point that out. But it does have a full flat floor. I'll show you that in a second. So the back seat is a bench seat, and it flips up in a 60-40 split fashion, so we can use it for cargo and stuff. But there's a solid piece of glass back here. Of course, a handle. There's no map pockets. There's no pockets on the back of the seat, which is surprising. Has plenty of storage elsewhere, but there's some cup holders that can be, you know, shared with the front and rear passengers. There's a 12-volt power supply there, and there's a USB port right here, and a USB-C. And then right here is a 20 amp outlet. Okay, so let's go ahead and flip this seat up. You just lift it up and it locks in place. To release it, you have to pull on this strap and then release it down. It'll stay up until you release it. But it's a full flat floor. So being able to open the door up and put boxes or whatever you want on this floor is like a secondary cargo bed, you know, because there's a lot of space here. And this rubberized floor is kind of grippy, so you're not, stuff isn't sliding around so much. You also have some tie downs here as well. The tools for the spare tire are located behind the smaller seat here. You can see it has the jack and the tools are wrapped up. Also the tool for lowering and getting the spare tire on the ground is here wrapped up. So that's flipping up that seat, so you can see the potential here. There's a lot of space, because sometimes you just want to put something not in the bed of the truck. Like if you pick up an expensive item and you want to secure it, or if it's raining and you want to put it back here, it's just really nice to have this much space. And there's a tie down on this side. And the swing of the door is nice, so you can, you know, put stuff in there a lot easier. Even when the seats are down, you still can utilize the floor as underneath the seats as well, which is cool. The average person that sees this truck driving down the road, they just think it's a regular F-150. But you can see it says Lightning back here. Also, a little lightning bolt back here with the American flag. So kind of gives it away that it's a Lightning, but other than that, I mean, most people glance at this truck and they just see it as a regular truck. They don't really realize what it is. So looking at the back here, starting with the very top of the truck, you can see these black little bumps right here. One is for the GPS and one is for satellite radio. So I'm not sure which one is which, but those are the covers for those sensors, and then, or the antennas, I should say. And then right here is one of the third brake lights. There's cargo lights, which work fantastic at nighttime. Plus there's a camera back here, so that way you can keep an eye on the stuff in the back of the truck. You can even look at it and keep an eye on it while you're driving. I'll show you that when we get inside, which is really fantastic. You know, sometimes you kind of want to make sure everything's fine back there while you're driving, and you have that certainty to keep an eye on it. Now the tail lights, turn signals, reverse lights, all the lights back here are LED. And like I said, there's a night video that shows you all the lights and what they look like at night. Here's another light right here, and this illuminates the whole rear of the vehicle, so you can see what's going on back here as well. That's in addition to the reverse lights. So there's parking sensors across the back bumper. You can see they're integrated into the black portion, those little circles there. It also has the tow hitch. And I'll leave the specs on how much the towing is for each trim, because it depends on how the vehicle's loaded out. So it's kind of specific. There's the 7-way and 4-way outlets for your trailer. And those are above the bumper, so they don't get as dirty and they're easy to reach and all that stuff. The backup camera, Ford does a great job with their backup cameras because they're perfectly integrated into the design of the vehicle in a top, very high center position, which other manufacturers need to take note. Ram does a good job, Ford does a good job, but some manufacturers have it's like really, really low and way off to the side and all this stuff, and it's just ridiculous. So this is a good thing to see for a change. Also, this has coil springs. So let's go ahead and look at that, because typically trucks have leaf springs. You can see there's coil springs, which has a different ride quality. So it doesn't have the typical wheel hop as a leaf spring. So it's a different ride quality. It is a heavy truck as well. I put it on the scales, and it's like 6,800 pounds with me and my equipment in it. So it was pretty darn heavy. So with that battery system and all that stuff, it's definitely Has a different feel to it while you're driving, but it is very impressive driving it. I love driving this truck. Okay, so this tailgate, it locks with the vehicle. So when the vehicle's unlocked, you can open it up. And it's not dampened or anything. You just kind of have to, you know, catch it and not let it fall. And it comes down. It doesn't have the, like some of the models have like a step that pulls out and all that stuff. This one doesn't have that. But it does have this cool little thing right here, this little door, that you can see it has a picture of a little clamp. So you can put a clamp right here. So it kind of allows you to like use this as like a workbench. And if you need to clamp something down, you can use that and here. So like if you put a 2x4 or whatever and you want to clamp it down, you can have that ability to do that. Otherwise it's too thick to put a clamp on it typically, which is pretty cool. It also has tie downs. You see that right there. Now that's a tie down for when you have the tailgate down and you have a load sticking out over the tailgate. You can tie it down here in addition to the tie downs that are actually in the truck, which is great. Also, Ford says you can use it as a bottle opener too, because the bottom, they kind of shaped it to where it can catch a bottle and open it up, which I guess, I don't know how many bottles there are out there on the market. Do people even use those? But it does have that capability. So this is a spray-in bed liner. And you can see it has some fixed tie downs. There's one right up there. There's one right there. And then you have these additional tie down spots here, which you would have to attach little anchor things on those. On this side is unbelievable because it has a power inverter. You have the 120 volt 20 amp here. There's a duplex. There's two of them. This one, same deal, 120 volt 20 amp, but you also have a 240 30 amp outlet here. It's like a generator. Like this is typically what you'd find on a generator. So you can use a generator cable and it's 30 amps, just like a lot of generators are. So you can actually power a lot of stuff with that 30 amp 240 volt outlet. You can even charge another electric car with that, which is amazing. So yeah, this is the possibilities are a lot. I'm very impressed with that, having a 240 volt on an electric truck. That's just amazing. Now, of course, it's going to diminish your battery if you're doing that kind of stuff, so you want to keep in mind that. It also has, I'll show you on the inside, it has it to where you can set how many miles, like it'll use these power inverters until the mileage, the estimated range goes down to whatever you set it to. So like right now it's set at 100 miles. So if you're using these power inverters and then it drains the battery to where it diminishes down to where you can only drive 100 miles, then it just turns those off. So that way you don't accidentally drain your battery completely and then you're stuck, you know? So you can just set that up the way you want it. But when you get in the vehicle, it has like these animations and stuff, which is pretty cool. But it also, well, it showed it a second ago. You know, it turns on for a few seconds and then it turns off. But we'll go ahead and start it to show you. So to start it, you just hold the brake and push this button right here. And it's not going to you're not going to hear engine start or anything like that. But it is going to let you know that it's ready. You can see a little green right there. And the climate control will go ahead and start up. Alright, I'm going to get rid of those little things there. And we'll get into the screen, but it's important to note your range and your battery level. You know, even when you're sitting there and you're using your climate control, it does use some of the power. Also, if you're using the power inverters, stuff like that, you want to keep an eye on how much electricity you have as far as your battery level and your estimated range. Very important. Here's the floorboard in front of the driver's seat. And there's a pretty good size storage pocket there. There's the accelerator, brake pedal, and footrest here on the left side. We saw how to open up the front truck using the button under there, but there's also another button here. So this would be the electronic way of opening it up. If for whatever reason the battery is dead or whatever reason you can't get it open, there's a mechanical pull switch right here, mechanical release. So you open this cover and there's a little red ribbon. You just pull that and it releases the front truck mechanically and bypasses the whole electric system. So if something's just like not working properly, you can always get into the front trunk using that pull tab there. The blind spot and rear cross traffic alert indicator is here on the side mirror. And the inside of the driver's side door is just like the other side, except for it has a few more buttons. So there's the power windows. So it's one touch up and down for the front. So it's one touch up and down for the front. It does have double pane glass here on the front. Lift it up. But the rear glass, you do have to hold it, and it goes all the way down. So some vehicles, the glass doesn't go all the way down. It'll stop just short of going all the way down. Side mirrors are adjusted here, and then door locks, of course, are there. Manually adjusted seat for the driver, so no fancy switches and controls for the seat. But they are comfortable as they are. To the left of the steering column, there is a power parking brake. So this is not like an emergency brake. This would be like a parking brake. And so you pull it to turn it on, and it engages the rear wheels. To turn it off, you push and hold the brake and push it in, and it'll release it. This is for your cargo lights. You got to check out my night video to see what they look like. They're fantastic. The headlights, same thing, are fantastic, but it has off, parking lights, automatic headlights, and then just manually turning on the headlights. It also has automatic high beams as well, and they actually work pretty good. Dimmer switch for the interior gauges is here. We saw that to release the front trunk, and then we have the side lights here for the side mirrors, and it shines a light to the very left or right of the vehicle, and it's really handy. And they're pretty bright. They're not like a spotlight bright, but they're pretty bright. It also has a tilt and a telescoping steering column as well. Sitting in the driver's seat, I have the seat all the way back. I'm 6 feet tall, just to show you the potential for the legroom here. It's too far back for me, being 6 feet. It needs to be a little bit forward. So if you're like over 6 feet, no problem with additional space for sure. So the steering wheel is a synthetic material, very durable and grippy, good thickness, easy to clean, which is a good thing. And also, some people like this type of steering wheel over the leather wrap because there's no stitching involved. There's no stitching to kind of bother your hands. It's just a nice round surface here. So the buttons on the steering wheel. So on this side, up here, these buttons correspond with the screen. We'll get to that in a minute. These buttons here on the bottom here and here correspond with the radio. So the volume for the radio, voice recognition, the phone to hang up or answer. So depending on if somebody's calling you, you can answer with this button, and then when you're finished, you push the same button to hang up. And these buttons are to change through the track, audio tracks, or the radio station presets or whatever on the radio. So these bottom portions connected together. On this side, above that section, is the cruise control. So you turn it on, you set, resume. You can set it with either one of these, and then resume and cancel is there in the middle. And this has a lane keeping assist system, which is right here. It does not have adaptive cruise control though. So it does a good job of keeping the vehicle in the lane without being too intrusive. So it's one of those features that I can use it and it's not really a problem. But it does not have adaptive cruise control. Something to consider. It has this feature, but not the other. All right, so the turn signals here, also your windshield wiper controls, pretty standard windshield wiper controls here as well. Now it does have automatic high beams. So once you initiate the high beams, then it will, the second press will go into the automatic function. And it'll show you here on the screen. Okay, so remember these buttons right here. You have a menu, up and down, okay, and a back button. We're gonna use those in just a second. So right now, the status of the screen has you can change the views, and that's why I say this. So right now it has the what gear you're in, outside temperature, what direction the vehicle's facing here, the status of the lane keeping assist, what the radio's doing, the odometer here, speedometers here. It also has a nice digital and a visual representation of one, which is pretty cool. You see this little bar right here? That's the status of how much charge you have on your battery. On the left side, there's like a little status bar that goes up here and down here. And what happens is, as you're accelerating and you're using power, the bar will go up this way, and it'll drain your battery. Now, if you're slowing down and you're using the regenerative braking, then it will go into this area down here, and it'll actually show you that it's going to charge the battery. So it'll make a little connection right here briefly while you're slowing down, and it'll transfer some of that energy, that slowing down momentum energy, into the battery, basically recharging the battery, like a generating electricity. Same thing here. This is kind of visual reference, but it separates the motor. So there's a front motor and a rear motor, and it's like an automatic four-wheel drive system. There's no separate controls for the four-wheel drive. It just kind of automatically works. And then so like this bar right here is power, and then going above that line is power, and going below that line is charge. See, power and charge, and it separates the motors here, so you know what's going on each one. The temperature of the battery is here, and you notice there's a range, so it has like this bracket. If it's too cold, that's a problem. If it's too hot, it's a problem. So in the center range right there is ideal. Same thing with the motors. So the motors have a range in which the motors are ideal temperature for operation. So that's what those are for. Now, using these buttons here, just gonna scroll so you can see what happens. We're gonna go up and down first. So we go up, and it shows the pitch and roll of the vehicle. So as we're going up and down a hill, or if the vehicle's tilted left or right, it'll give you that precise angle. Right now we're like dead level, so everything's 0. Scrolling up again will show the tire pressure. Again will be the driver assistance. This will just be like the status of the lane keep assist, because sometimes it doesn't see the lanes on the road, so it'll let you know that it's seeing it or not seeing it, that kind of thing. Scrolling up again will let you know the status of the seat belts. So there's 0 passengers with their seatbelt on. And then again up will take us back to the original, which was that power and charge, separated with the motors there, front and rear motors. All right, so now if we go, and we can rest at any one of these. So I just happened to have it when we started, like in this one. But if we want to have it in the pitch and roll, we can leave it there. Tire pressure, whatever we want to keep an eye on, we can leave it there. Now if we push the menu button, then we can make another selection. So right there is my view, and then trip, we can select that. And there's trip 1 and trip 2 at this trip, and then driver assistance. So the driver assistance is basically what we saw, the lane keep assist. But trip 1, we can reset these independently. Trip 2, and then this trip, like how long it's been since we started the vehicle. And then driver assistance goes back to what we saw before. All right, let's go to the menu, scroll down, information about the truck, and then all it does in this particular trim has the driver assistance. So some of these are, the result is the same because there's no additional features to go to. Now the same menu system is on higher trims, which have more features, and then that way it will, you'll be able to have more features in some of these sub menus. Towing, so this gives you the status of the towing, trailer information, trailer status, driver assistance. Now it has the Pro Trailer feature, and I'll show you that in a minute. Once you set up a trailer, it'll actually help you back up the trailer. Navigation, We can go into here and, you know, put in different information, like say your home address and all that stuff. Phone, audio, and then you have settings. So you can change the kilometer per hour. It has a brake coach in which you can turn off. EV driving history, we can get information about that. Under My View, which is under main menu, you select that, and it has these different options here. And you can configure them right here. And you can select the ones that you want or deselect the ones you don't want. One of the options here is comm screen. And when you leave it and you just leave it there on the comm screen, what happens is all these detailed information goes away and you have the most relevant information. So right now it says speedometer, the status of the lane keeping assist system, which I'm going to turn that off briefly so you can see that kind of goes away. All right, so we can make the screen even less complicated. So we have the digital speedometer, we have the range and the status of the battery. So right now we're at 71%, 203 miles range, outside temperature, what gear we're in, the vehicle's ready to drive, what direction the vehicle's facing, and then the odometer. So it's a very simple screen, and I like this screen a lot. But you know, if you want to keep an eye on the chart, how much power is going where, and all that stuff, you got to go into the other screen. But having this ability to just have like a basic, easy to read, large number digital screen that's gives you the relevant facts while you're driving, this is fantastic. So we saw the start button there, and to the right of that, which is kind of between the screen and there, is this knob, and it's kind of rubberized, and that is the Pro trailer. I don't have a trailer connected, but basically this will allow you to, it'll actually turn the steering wheel for you. And once you get it set up and you're ready to go, then you turn that on, and of course we don't have a trailer added, but you can actually turn this knob, and the direction you want the trailer to go, and it'll turn the steering wheel for you. I don't have experience using it, but that's my understanding. All right, there's this compartment there, like a quick access compartment there on the dash, which is nice. There's buttons here at the very top. We have the button for the camera system. We'll get to that in a minute. That's a really big plus on this vehicle. Parking sensors, you can turn them off. Default is on. Four-way flashers are here. And then if you want to turn off the traction control, which I highly recommend you do not, unless you're really doing some off-road use, because this vehicle's very powerful and you can spin out of control if you don't know what you're doing. So definitely want to leave that on. But default is on. That's how you turn it off here. Okay, so here's the screen, and we're gonna get to the camera in a minute because that's one of my favorite parts. But the screen has these icons here at the bottom. So the first one's audio. So it has AM, FM, and then it has Bluetooth. So that's what it's set up right now. Phone, we're gonna have access to my phone right there once it's set up, once it's paired with the system. You notice there's this little side bar right here as well, which is really handy. We'll get to that in a minute. Navigation, and we can expand the navigation map as well to where that little sidebar gets out of the way, and we can get a large view of the navigation map. We can also zoom in and out and stuff like that. And then we can put in an address right there. It's very simple. And do searches here. The next icon is drive modes, and it has normal, sport, off-road. When you put in off-road, it'll actually turn off the traction control, so you want to keep in mind that. Tow and haul, one pedal drive, which is additional settings here. This is actually where when you're driving, you just let go of the accelerator to stop, and it'll stop the vehicle pretty fast. Now, if you need to stop real fast, of course, use the brake, but it will stop the vehicle pretty fast and come to a complete stop. Locking differential, so this will lock the differential. So if this is for like off-road use, and this is the rear axle. But normal works really good. Sport gives you a little bit more power and a little bit more responsiveness. Normal is a really good all-arounder because when you push the accelerator, it goes fast. even in normal mode. It's just kind of smooths things out a little bit less responsive, and kind of conserves energy. But sport mode is like when you really want to really want to drive fast and accelerate, and it also has the slows down as well when you let it go the accelerator. So it's a little bit different experience, but they're both good, really good. All right, so the next one is apps, and the apps has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. Also, you can find more mobile apps. This also has the ability to update the system over the air. So I get notifications last couple days of updates, which is pretty cool. Settings, you go in here, radio, phone, navigation, sound, vehicle settings. We can go into that. General settings. You can change the language, units, that kind of stuff. Display settings, brightness, stuff like that. Going over this way, we have connectivity, vehicle hotspot, which is handy, software updates, Amazon Alexa capability for people that use that, has a valet mode and Ford assistance. All right, the next one is features, and this is where it gets pretty interesting. So we have drive modes. We saw that. That's like a little quick access to the drive modes. The driver assistance. So we can turn on or off or adjust features here, like lane keeping system, pre-collision assist, rear view camera, blind spot information, cross traffic alert, reverse brake assist. So basically, if you're getting close to something, you're backing up too close to something, if you have this on, it'll actually engage the brake to keep you from stopping, hitting something, or at least mitigate the impact or something. Access to the vehicle. So this one has a charge port light, but it doesn't have additional features on this because of the trim. Pro Power on board. So this would be your power inverters. So it's turned on now, and you can see it says trunk. It calls it the front trunk and cabin. I'm not a fan of the front terminology, so I'm not going to use it. It's the front trunk and the cabin, which is in here, and then you have the rear information there as well. Well, I just accidentally hit something. Let's go back where we were. All right, so there we go. So jumping ahead a little bit, let's look at this. This is the power inverter that's in the cabin. There's one here, one in the back, and there's one in the front trunk. So I have my trusty old heat gun here, and I'm going to plug it in to this 20 amp breaker, and this would completely overwhelm normal vehicles with a power inverter, because typically a vehicle on the high level, they're usually around 150 watts in a normal vehicle, or they could be 400 on the high level typically. This one is 16 amps, so we'll put this heat gun on low. So I'm going to aim it up away from stuff because it gets quite hot. So we'll turn it on. You can see we're at about 860 watts. All right, that's on low. Turn it off, and you can see it goes down. All right, watts are, they're basically the voltage and the amps. Volts times the amps is the watts. So now we're going on high. So you can see it's pretty high. So it's kind of evening out about 1,150 watts. So yeah, that's a lot of watts on a power inverter, on pretty much any power inverter, but this one is able to handle it no problem. And then, of course, you have up to 2,400 watts, and this is a high draw device. Like heat guns use a lot of electricity, and they can pop your breaker in your house if you don't know what you're doing. Like if you have other stuff running, like a microwave or something like that, you can, pop your breaker. So this one is actually handling it no problem on that 20 amp outlet. which is really amazing to me on a vehicle to have a power inverter that high, and then having several of them, and including a 240. So you can actually get a status of that. So like I mentioned, you can limit how much power you use. So let's scroll down. Outlets will turn off at the value selected below. So you can manually set it up, or you can have nearest charging station or default. So manually, it's set up with a 100-mile range. So once the vehicle battery gets down to 100-mile range, it turns off the power inverter system. So we have 200 miles of range, so we've got plenty of use. So you can change this to, lower. Let's say if you want to put it down to 40, 50 miles, if you want to do that, or even higher, depending on your needs. But I think as just a default, 100 is good. Okay, so towing, we hit that, and we have a different checklist here. Have a checklist, connection checklist, conventional, and then it's going to go through the list on how to hook it up and all that stuff. You have different trailers. See, the vehicle has to know the size of the trailer and all that stuff. So when you add a trailer, you have a name of it, and there's a process you have to go through. It also has trailer sway control, which is nice. All right, so this is cool. Onboard scales. All right, so it actually can measure how much payload you have in the vehicle. And also, there, if you go right here, you can, let's go here. All right, let's go back. Onboard scales, there. Scale mode, right there. You can reset to 0. Also, you get a different view here as well. So if it's not reading 0, you can reset it to 0 once you know the vehicle's empty, the bed of the truck's empty, basically. You can also change the measurement units too. All right, we have trip energy, like how much energy used during a trip, that kind of stuff. Also, it separates between climate use. Like right now, I've just been sitting here and haven't really driven very far. So the climate use is the major use here. Route is 0, and accessory is 57%, because we're using the power inverter and all that stuff. So that way it looks a little strange there. When you're actually driving, this will look a little bit more reasonable. Departure and comfort, so you can get the vehicle going at a certain time, get the climate control going at a certain time, depending on if you leave regularly. Also, charge settings. So one-time max charge limit. So if you don't want the vehicle to charge 100%, you can make it charge 80 or 90%, depending on your needs. You can also save charge locations and then adjust your comfort level. Now, I wish there was the ability to limit your amperage. So like if you want to charge at a slower amperage. So right now I'm charging it at a 40 amp charge with a 40 amp charger. And some other vehicles give you the ability to lower that down. Like if you want to charge at 20 amps instead of 40 amps, just for longevity of the battery, or maybe you're limited on how many amps you have available at that time. I wish it had that capability, but I don't see it anywhere. This intelligent backup power system, this you have to have a Forge Charge Station Pro, and basically from what I understand is you can actually you can use the vehicle power to power certain things in your house or something like that. I think that's what it is. I don't have any experience with it, but that's what my understanding is. Owner's manual. The good thing about a owner's manual that is digital like this is you can search. So like an owner's manual that you find in the glove compartment, there's a physical book, is nice as well, but sometimes you just want to have a search. And it also has a visual search, which is pretty cool. So if you have a button or something that you don't really know what it is, then you can, you know, just kind of narrow it down by where it is located on the vehicle. And you can also save bookmarks. And there's some videos, you know, which is pretty cool. Okay, remember I was talking about this side thing? I'll show you in a second. This one, you can scroll through. Let me go ahead and get it to work. There we go. And you can get additional information here on the side. My favorite thing is this bed camera that you can turn on and keep an eye on the cargo behind you or a trailer behind you while you're driving, and you still have the other screen up, and you have this while you're driving down the road. That's pretty cool. But pro power information, off-road status. This was your tilt and pitch and roll, and then your trip information, phone information, navigation map can be here, and then it scrolls to the radio, stuff like that. But this is a pretty cool little additional thing here on the side that you know, especially that bed camera. Sometimes you just want to keep an eye on whatever's back there, and that's a great way to do it. So while we're talking about the cameras, time to push this button. So we push that, it pops up the camera system, and right now it's showing the front of the vehicle and then the top-down view. And so the top-down view, the resolution's good. You can see great. The colors and all that stuff are good. And you see it has 4 cameras, one in the front, one on each side mirror, one in the back, and it basically stitches those views together. They're very wide-angle view, and it stitches it together to represent like a top-down, like it's like 20 feet above the vehicle looking down, and you can see the lines are fairly straight, and it looks pretty natural looking. So that way you can get an idea of what's immediately around the vehicle. So when you hit this plus, you can see it pops up these little zones, and you can look closer at one of these zones. Like if you just want to look closer there, you can do that. Get out of that, get out of that. So I thought that was pretty cool. Also, when you hit this, it pops up all these different options. So right now we're in this first one. The second one is a bigger view of the front. The next one is a super wide view of the front. So it's to the left, to the right, and in the front. The next one is the bed camera, bigger view of the bed camera. The next one, this one right here, when we hit that, nothing's going to show up, but you can set up and connect a camera that goes on the back of a trailer. So you can add an additional camera to this. So that's what that's for. The next one is you're backing up to a trailer. See, this is the bumper, and the hitch would be protruding a little bit from right here, and you'd be able to back right up to a trailer, no problem. The next one is the rear view. Now this is a view that you can actually see while you're driving down the road, because you can see it says full view not available. It kind of blocks out that, because as you're driving, you can keep an eye on the trailer with this view. So even if you're not in reverse. All right, so let's go ahead and put it in reverse, because some of these views are going to change. So you can see it's the front view and the top-down view. Now let's go ahead and put it in reverse. And when we do that, we have the backup view, rear view camera. The top-down remains the same. We can hit this little plus, and it'll take us to this backing up to a trailer mode. We can hit this. The next one right over here, instead of the front, we see the back. And it has these lines as well, active guidelines. So you can see those lines that are moving as I turn the steering wheel, which is pretty cool and very handy. The next one would be a super wide view of the back. The next one, of course, the cargo and all that's the same basically. And this one is when you're in reverse. when we're in reverse, this is a view. It basically looks behind the vehicle and cuts out the vehicle, and it's showing directly this way and that way on both sides. So you can see the view of your vehicle and then the trailer side, like if you're looking out like the side mirror here, sort of like that, but you're getting both at the same time. So that's pretty cool. All right. Also, there's like a slight beeping, tiny beeping noise when you put it in reverse on this vehicle. So the people behind you can hear it if you're backing up, because it is a quiet vehicle since it's electric. All right, so that's kind of a quick rundown of the screen and the different features there. I'll go ahead and put it in park. And how to use them. It has digital clock, outside temperature, some basic information there as well. The trailer brake gain control is located here, so once you connect a trailer that has a braking system, you can tune it to make sure that it's not going to be too much braking or not enough braking while you're driving here. Volume for the radio, tuned through the station, so that's pretty traditional knobs. And then you have the ability to, turn off the screen if you want to. Just have like this. Push it again and it turns off completely. Tap the screen and it'll turn back on. This is the settings for the sound. You can quickly go to that. If you have a song list prepared on your device or whatever you're playing, you push that and it'll take it there, but there's nothing there, so it's not going to do anything right now. Change through your tracks, play and pause, which is nice, but there's a change through the tracks there. Climate control is below these controls, and you have the driver and passenger. It's a dual zone climate control, which you can sync if you want. So there's dual, and then the default is sync. And when you turn the knob, it pops up here on the screen, showing you what the temperature is. Fan speed, where you want the air to blow, recirculate the air, air conditioning, side mirror, heated side mirrors, front defroster, all that is located here as well. You can turn off the climate control by pushing in on that button. USB-C and USB-A ports there, backlit illuminated. There's a storage pocket, which is not illuminated. There's cup holders, little arms, little spring-loaded arms, which is nice. This is a good spot for a pin right in here. Pin or a tire gauge, something like that. This shifter is interesting. It has a feature that is kind of really designed for some of the higher trims. When you push this, it goes down. So that way you can flip over, like some of the higher trims have the center console that flips over and has like a little desk that flips over here. This one doesn't have it, but it still has the shifter that collapses in. All right, so we have reverse, which we saw, and two things will happen when we reverse. One is the camera system will pop up, also the parking sensors will be active as well. Neutral, and then there's drive. This is for, when you push that, is for flat, it's for flat towing. So it's going to disengage the system to where that way the vehicle's freewheeling. But you want to know what you're doing, because the vehicle is going to be disengaged from its driving system when you engage that. Okay, so the armrest is comfortable, padded. I actually have some padding here on this one. It's not super duper soft, but it is kind of rubbery soft, I guess you could say. It's like a vinyl type material that's covering it. And you see we can reach these cup holders here, just like the rear passengers can. This lifts up. And it's kind of spring-loaded, so it doesn't flop back down on you. And it's kind of wide. Seems like a lot of wasted space there. It is a locking compartment as well. There's a little keyhole there. Okay, so there's a tray, like a quick access tray here, that you can take out or move. And it's resting in these little grooves. There's grooves there and there's grooves there, and it's just big enough to where you can fit a file folder in there. If you want to utilize this space for file folders and stuff like that, like a file cabinet, you can do that. And it is a massive junk drawer type compartment here for whatever you want to put in it. And you'll notice there's USB port, charge ports there as well. And there's a place for wires to go in and out of the compartment there. And there is some illumination here as well. You'll see my night video. I'll show you what's illuminated, what's not. Spoiler, the glove compartment is not illuminated, unfortunately. Rear view mirror is auto dim rear view mirror, and it's actually auto dimming right now, I think, because I have the shade over the light sensor, which is located on this side. There's some lights up here, here, turn them all on here, and then they default will turn on when you open the doors, but if you want to turn that feature off, you can do that in case you got a baby sleeping or whatever. There's also these little lights right here that really help out at night. I'll show you that in a night video. There's a place to put some shades, and it kind of has like this rubbery, plasticky material in there. The visors are cloth covered, just like the headliner. There's a little clip right there. There is a mirror, but no light. They extend out on a metal rod. Same thing there on the passenger side. So looking at the visibility in the back, you can see pretty good out there. The pillars kind of get in the way, the headrests kind of get in the way. The headrests are removable, so if you don't have any passengers back there, you can remove the headrests. But they do get in the way a little bit. But you know, of course, the camera system, parking sensors, rear cross traffic alert, blind spot detection system, you know, all kinds of additional technology to help you drive the vehicle safely helps out with the potential for blind spots back here as well. That center pillar is definitely another blind spot. So when you plug it in, depending on how much power the vehicle has available through the charging system. So right now I have it plugged into a 40 amp 220 charging device cable, and so it's showing the current range, the battery percentage here, and then it says charging, and it'll say 100%. It'll be 100% charge. You can see the vehicle here is at a current status, and this vehicle will move forward as it charges. And at 11:51 p.m. Thursday, it will be fully charged. So that's tonight. So right now it's 7:47 p.m. and it's saying at 11:51 p.m. it'll be fully charged, giving the charge rate at 40 amps. If you have a higher or lower charging rate, then it will either charge faster or slower. So depending on what you have it plugged into and that kind of thing. You can also get the same information here on the screen as well. It's basically the same type of deal. I see a lot of people that I take a ride, that I allow to ride in the electric cars that I'm reviewing, and they're very surprised that they're fast. They're shocked. They think the electric cars are slow for some reason, and I'm like, at this point, why are they just not informed about electric cars? They think they're just like a golf cart or something, and they're not very fast and not very responsive and sluggish or whatever. When I actually take them for a ride in an electric car and they feel how well they drive, it's just like they're shocked. So if you're not familiar with electric cars in general, cars, in this particular case a truck, then you definitely want to take one for a test drive, because they have this acceleration that's so exhilarating and addicting that it's just kind of amazing how fast a vehicle can accelerate, But I think this one is like under 5 seconds. But even that doesn't do it justice, because it doesn't have to change gears. It doesn't have to, like a typical engine has to rev up and get in a certain RPM range in order to be efficiently accelerating. It doesn't have to do that. It's from 0 all the way up through its RPM range, it has the maximum amount of torque. So it's pretty amazing, the feeling. It feels much different than say a gas engine that's going 0 to 60 in under 5 seconds. It feels better. But as far as like just a normal driving truck, this one's pretty comfortable, especially with those coil springs in the back. And just overall, you're just driving it. It's easy to drive. Has great acceleration. You think you got a lot of acceleration, then you can push it even more, and you got even more. It's really nice. Cruise control's working good. Steering is very comfortable. And what can I say? The F-150 is just a really good, well-designed vehicle to begin with. And then when you take that concept and then make an electric vehicle out of it, and then do it this well, the front trunk is done well. The just most everything is really good in the Lightning. So it is a pretty quiet vehicle. It has the dual pane glass there on the side, and it's an electric vehicle, so there's no engine, there's no exhaust, this one doesn't have any like off-road tires or anything, so there's no significant tire noise. I think the loudest thing right now is just the wind noise, just kind of whipping around the vehicle at 60 miles an hour. It does not have the adaptive cruise control, so that's something to consider. Now, one thing with the acceleration, you definitely want to tie down whatever you're putting in the back of the truck really good, or in the front trunk as well, or anywhere in the vehicle, because there's so much acceleration that you could dislodge something and it can move around, and that's where the bed camera comes in handy. You can keep an eye on that while you're driving. And if a tie strap or something, like a strap or something that you have securing something, like say you had a bundle of 2x4s back there, and for whatever reason the strap came undone, or one of the 2x4s is loose or whatever because of shifting around, you'll be able to notice it right away with that bed camera system. When you let go of the accelerator, it has that, since I have it in sport mode, it has that regenerative braking, in which it slows the vehicle down and transfers some of that energy into electricity and recharges the battery with it. It's not a huge amount, but it is it does help using that additional inertia that you have and transfer that energy back into electricity, which is cool. It's like, why not do it? I like the fact that it has the large digital speedometer that's easy to read. That's a big plus. Some vehicles have little tiny things, and it's like you got this big screen sometimes, and it's like a little tiny numbers on it. Doesn't make any sense. So they did a good job on the gauges here. So I'm just gonna stop. Let me go ahead and stop and just start off from a standstill, because it feels a little bit faster when you already got some momentum here. So let me go ahead and start. I don't know if you heard that. It actually was trying to spin wheels, but the traction control and the fact that the four-wheel drive system is engaged, it wanted to break traction. It really did want to. That's why I say you don't want to turn off the traction control, because you could potentially lose control of this vehicle. This just has that much power and torque. If it was a two-wheel drive truck, it'd be a problem. It would be a problem. So I can understand why they had the dual motor system. You'd have trouble. If you didn't have the traction control and it was a two-wheel drive truck, it would be downright dangerous to drive on wet roads for sure. You'd have to limit the power or something. So in normal mode, you still get that, you get a really good acceleration. A little bit less regenerative braking and a little bit less responsiveness to the pedal and a little bit less acceleration. But it does accelerate fast. I mean, it's not slow in normal. It's not like an eco mode. Like some vehicles have, like the Mach-E Mustang has an eco mode, and it's like not very fun to drive in eco mode. But this is just normal sport, off-road, and tow and haul. And the one pedal drive, I'm not used to driving it with one pedal drive. I've experimented a little bit with it, but it basically slows the vehicle down too fast. I'm not used to let go of the accelerator, and this feels like you're not even touching the brake, but the brake is, pushed really hard. So you have to really negotiate with the pedal and really finesse it to learn how to drive it properly, because it will come to a complete stop just by letting go of the accelerator. But anyways, thank you for watching, and leave a comment on whether you think the electric truck thing is going to be a major part of the future. This vehicle I like a lot, but I'm concerned about towing. I haven't had a chance to tow, and some people say that towing is an issue with this vehicle. So I have to look into that. The whole electric truck thing, I think they did a great job with this one, but as far as the practicality and the use of it over time, we'll just have to see. It's new technology. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And I'm definitely on board with electric cars, because I can see those as just passenger cars is definitely a good idea in general. They're fun to drive. That's the main thing for me. But anyways, let me know what you think in the comments about this vehicle, and I'll see you guys next time.